Coming up, new additions from the trade deadline make an impact for the Astros and the Padres. This is Locked On Now MLB.
The biggest games, the best performances, expert analysis. You are Locked On Now.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Now MLB, local experts weighing in on the biggest stories in baseball. I'm your host, Kanani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every single weekday. We've got all of our Locked On MLB hosts here to recap all of the action for you from yesterday. We're going to begin with some of the players traded at the deadline because they made their debuts with their new teams on Wednesday. And the Houston Astros used one of those new players to help beat the Boston Red Sox in last night's biggest game.
The biggest game.
Trey Mancini hit a home run in his first start for the Astros, making our Locked On Astros hosts feel pretty good about Houston's move at the deadline. He and Locked On Red Sox go over the only win of the series for the Stros.
Welcome to Houston, Trey Mancini, as he plays his first game as a starting first baseman, and he hits a homer. Of course, it's to the Crawford boxes, and it wouldn't be a homer at his old ballpark, but welcome to Houston. Of course, it was a homer, and Jose Urquidy pitched a heck of a game, no-hitter into the fifth inning, 7 innings, 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, which ties a career high. The Astros held the Red Sox to scoreless until the 9th inning. Will Smith made his Astros debut. Unfortunately, he gave up a home run to Xander Bogaerts, but overall, it was a great game. Tucker broke out of his hitless streak with a bunt and then later got another hit. And then you had Altuve with a 4-hit game. Astros get back in the winning ways, and I can't wait to play the Guardians. This is Eric Heisman with the Locked On Astros podcast. Check us out.
The good news is that the Red Sox ended up winning the series against the Houston Astros. The bad news, however, is that everything went wrong for Boston on Wednesday in their lone loss of this series. Hey, it's Lauren from Locked On Red Sox, and things just did not go Boston's way. Brayan Bello ended up leaving the game with what the team called a left groin strain. Rich Hill did not go the 5 innings that Alex Cora was hopeful for, and the bullpen did not get a much-needed reset. Jake and I are going to break down this series for you. We're going to talk in Brayan Bello's injury. Good thing the Red Sox got all that pitching help at the deadline, right? We'll break everything down for you on our next episode of Locked On Red Sox.
Sean Murphy did something that not many people can do, made Shohei Ohtani look vulnerable on the mound as the Los Angeles Angels lost to the Oakland A's last night. Locked On Angels says LA missed out on some big opportunities after getting just 1 run on the board.
Whew. James Caprillion certainly knows how to keep the Angels in check. What's going on, everybody? It's John from Locked On Angels. The Angels dropped this one to the A's 3-1 because of some great pitching from James Caprillion. That guy has had about a Caprillion good innings against the Halos, and he held them to 1 run in this game, which was an RBI double from Luis Rengifo. I like to call him Renbifo because he's the only one producing runs in this lineup. Man, it's so bad when the Angels have so many opportunities to score and they just squander them. But he did come through with an RBI double. Shohei was on the mound tonight. He went 5 2/3. He gave up a 2-run shot to Sean Murphy and also had an unearned run against him as well. But the big concern was that he came out of the game later on and was pinch hit for. He had a forearm cramp. Now, all indications are that he's going to be okay and he's going to DH in the day game on Thursday. But you know what? As an Angel fan who's been around for a long time, I do not like the words forearm, cramp, pitcher, and Angels in the same sentence. So hopefully everything is okay and that this medical staff can get on top of it. But if he's going to hit tomorrow, then maybe we're in good shape. Mike and I are going to break down this game and talk about it all with you on Locked On Angels. So be sure to tune in wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube.
Nick Castellanos took advantage of an overturned call on the field to help beat the Braves in Atlanta. Locked On Phillies gives his thoughts after a kind of weird win.
What a win in Atlanta by your Philadelphia Phillies. Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. The Phils beat the Braves 3. That's right, my boy AI up there. 3-1. And there's 2 big takeaways from this game. The smaller one, David Robertson comes in for the save, gets the job done there. And even though he was wearing his Cubs blue cleats and needs to get a new pair to fit the Phillies uniform, yeah, that's the first trade deadline acquisition that we see already paying dividends. But the real thing to look at, Nick Castellanos with a huge 2-run home run in the 8th inning to put the Phillies up for good in a 1-1 game. That's just, yeah, we've talked about Zach Wheeler being good all year. He was incredible again today. The bullpen was great today in Atlanta, but Nick Castellanos, he's starting to get hot. He showed some power today, and man, if he starts hitting, there's no way this team isn't a playoff team. So Nick Castellanos coming through in the clutch is a huge moment for the 2022 Philadelphia Phillies. And now, well, you take a split in Atlanta, a tough place to split, and you come back home against some easier opponents. It's a great time right now for the Phillies.
The Mariners hit 3 home runs in the first inning alone and won the series with the Yankees yesterday. Locked On Mariners and Locked On Yankees get into how Seattle got to Garrett Cole right away.
The Mariners entered this series massively shorthanded at the top of their lineup, but they end up taking 2 of 3 from the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, thanks in large part to their offense. This is Ty Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast. A little breakfast in baseball for Mariners fans on Wednesday as the Mariners explode for 6 runs in the top of the first inning against Garrett Cole, including 3 home runs by Eugenio Suarez, Carlos Santana, and yes, Jared Kelenic, as the Mariners go on to win 7-3 over the Yankees. In Luis Castillo's Mariners debut, he was strong in his first outing in a Mariners uniform, goes 6 2/3 innings of work, strikes out 8, gives up 3 earned runs on 5 hits, got squeezed quite a bit by CB Buckner, especially in the 5th inning of this one, but nevertheless, he was very, very good in his first outing in a Mariners uniform. You know who else was very, very good at his job today? J.P. Crawford. He had one of the most impressive single-handed defensive performances I've seen in a game ever. This dude was making plays all over the diamond, saved at least 1 run for the Mariners in this game. He was sensational today. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Castillo's debut. We're going to be talking about the offense and more on today's episode of Locked On Mariners. Be sure to check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. See you then.
This is Stacey Gausulias of Locked On Yankees, and I'm not allowed to curse. And I can't think of anything to say without cursing. So the season was pretty good up until about a month ago, maybe a little bit before that. Can we get back to that, Yankees? Can we please? I don't want to have to keep doing yoga breathing. You're killing me.
Lance Lynn threw 6 innings and gave up just 4 hits to the Royals in another victory. Locked On White Sox is feeling good as Chicago hits new highs for the season.
The Chicago White Sox beat the Kansas City Royals 4-1 Wednesday afternoon. They won the series, and the Sox are now 2 games over 500 for the first time since April 20th. White Sox needed a quality start out of Lance Lynn, and they got it. They also got another great game from Jose Abreu. He hit a 3-run homer. The White Sox now head to Texas to take on the Rangers Thursday night. Johnny Cueto on the hill for the Sox.
Coming up, Juan Soto debuted for the Padres, but it was another one of the deadline additions who was the hero for San Diego. This is Locked On Now MLB. Today's edition of Locked On Now is brought to you by Built Bar, the best tasting protein bars on the market. They not only taste great, they're good for you too. They're high in protein, but low in calories, low in sugar, low in fat. And some of the new flavors like Built Bar Puffs, including cookie dough chunk puffs, have little bits of cookie dough in there as well as the protein-infused marshmallow. If you head over to Built.com, you can use our promo code LOCKED15, gets you 15% off of your order. Just put in that promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your order at Built.com. Welcome back to Locked On Now MLB. I'm Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every single weekday. Sandy Alcantara's performance yesterday earned high praise in Wednesday's best performance.
The best performance.
Hold up, hold up, hold up.
Sandy Alcantara pitched another gem for the Miami Marlins against the Cincinnati Reds, and our Locked On Reds host was so impressed he's calling for Alcantara to take home the Cy Young Award at the end of the season.
I don't know much, but I know this. Baseball is awesome. Beer is best cold. And Sandy Alcantara is going to win the NL Cy Young. Holy cow. Hey, this is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast, here to tell you about a dominant performance by the Marlins' this year, NL Cy Young winner, Sandy Alcantara. He absolutely shut down the Reds in a complete game shutout. And what was most brilliant about it was its simplicity. He only struck out 3 guys. He only had 1 walk. He did give up some hits, and in the first inning, the Reds even had the bases loaded. But every time he got into a jam, he had the perfect pitch that set his defense up for the perfect play and got them out of the jam every single time. That was an impressive display of pitching, and I really don't know who else has an argument at this point in the National League for the Cy Young. It's Sandy Alcantara, and nobody else, really. Hey, Joey Votto had 2 hits, got thrown out second base trying to stretch a single into the double. Decent night for Mike Minor, but really, this night was all about the Marlins starter, and Sandy Alcantara is awesome. We're going to talk more about that, and we'll take a look at Jose Barrero's first game back, as well as some prospect stuff on the next Locked On Reds. Make sure you join us.
The Colorado Rockies became the first team to take on the new-look San Diego Padres on Wednesday, and Colorado felt the power of the new lineup right away. Locked On Rockies recaps the loss in Juan Soto's debut with his new team.
Rock on Rockies fans, Paul Holden here from the Locked On Rockies podcast. Well, it hasn't gotten any better. The Rockies continue to be dominated by the Padres, who are headlined by their new outfielder in Juan Soto, as they go on to crush the Rockies 9-1. 9-1. The Rockies don't have any of their luck against the Padres that they've had in the past, and they certainly have not come out of the All-Star break with any sort of fire or competitive nature that this team wants you to lead, that wants you to believe. Unfortunately, another tough loss for the Rockies. There's really not much to break down. Hey, Luis Montero is getting playing time. We can take that, I guess, but another tough night in Rocky Land. We'll be talking about it all right here on Locked On Rockies.
Brian Reynolds sent the Pittsburgh fans home happy on Wednesday with a walk-off home run to start off the bottom of the 9th. Locked On Pirates goes through Pittsburgh's win over the Brewers.
The young Bucks are flying. Brian Reynolds walks it off at PNC. The Pittsburgh Pirates take the series against the Milwaukee Brewers, winning the first 2 games of the series. This one 8-7. Last night 5-3. This is what Pirate fans want. They want the young guys getting the playing time. O'Neal Cruz hits a 114-mile-per-hour rocket in this game. His second home run of the series in 2 games. Tucupita Marcano had a phenomenal game. And this was a bullpen game for the Pirates. The bullpen didn't pitch that great, but they pitched well enough to keep the Pirates in the game. Of course, Yuri De Los Santos blew the 7-4 lead. Brian Reynolds against Devin Williams. Well, checkmate Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds wins this battle against Devin Williams. The Pirates are now 2-0 in the month of August, and things are looking up for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They get 2 out of 2 so far here against the Milwaukee Brewers, and they will look for a series sweep tomorrow. And I am your host who does the most, Ethan Smith. Brian Reynolds called game, and the young Bucks are flying around, baby. Pirates baseball, come feel the magic. I am your host, Ethan Smith. I will see you guys on the flip side.
That's all for today on Locked On Now MLB. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every single weekday. Now make sure you go check out Locked On MLB and your team's Locked On podcast. I'm Kainani Stevens. This is Locked On Now.